See my screen?
Yes, and recording has started.
Thank you. As always, we ground everything we do in our Best for All strategy. And again, today we're talking about educators and how we can support them. We are going to discuss the evaluation flexibility options today, LEA contacts, and we're going to start talking about things updating TNCompass for the 24-5 school year. Again, this year, the evaluation flexibility options will be collected in TNCompass. You'll go to the Administration tab and to LEA Settings. This is what it'll look like. It's very similar to last year. We made some changes. This is not the final version, so you may see some mistakes on this, some typographical errors and things, but this is just the basic form. You do have the option to copy your settings over from last year. There is a button at the bottom that says copy from the prior year. This does require your superintendent's signature. So whoever is staffed in TNCompass as superintendent will need to sign these evaluation flexibility options. Excuse me, the State Board of Education policy 5.201 gives districts and charters flexibility in the observations in the use of 5 different areas. So the observation model that you're using, growth for non-tested teachers, the use of school climate surveys, administrator evaluations, and the individual growth scores, which what we refer to as the 4-5 Trump rule. We're going to talk about each of these today. So district and charters must implement the team model or another state board approved observation model. So districts have the options of implementing team, TIM, Project Coach, or Tiger. There are other approved models for charters. Many of the charter schools have their own models that are approved, and approved charter models are available to charter schools. For the selections of Team, Tiger, and TIM, TNCompass will automatically configure TEAM as the administrator evaluation model. For Project Coach, TNCompass will automatically configure Project Coach as the administrator evaluation model. Team, Tiger, and TIM will use the TEAM model, and Project Coach uses the Project Coach model for administrators. In the LEA settings page, you'll go there. That is, you're going to select your model under the evaluation model. There is a drop-down menu. You choose the model that you want to use for the year, the approved model. Other options, districts and charters have the flexibility in pacing, which the number of observations that are required by licensure type, and that pacing can either be based on the prior year's LOE or the prior year's individual growth scores. So you have the option of using the prior year LOE. That is the default. If that is what you're going to do, you will not choose anything in TNCompass. But for teachers who get individual growth scores from TVAS portfolio or the alternative growth measure, you can choose to use that score to guide pacing, even if their LOE is higher. So for instance, a teacher could have an individual TVAS score of a 3. If you choose to base pacing off the individual growth scores, their pacing would be based off of that 3, even if their LOE ended up being a 4 when the LOE was calculated using the observation achievement score and growth score. So just remember, if you choose individual observation scores, that is what pacing is based off of, no matter what their LOE is. There is another option to use the class rubric. Class is a team rubric that is available for pre-K specific observations. You may choose to implement that. Remember, if you do implement that, observers have to be certified. Information on using the class rubric and the certification can, Misty Moody at tn.gov can help you with that information if you have questions. To use the individual growth scores for pacing, you would check the box that says use individual growth scores for pacing. There is an asterisk there that tells you if individual growth is not selected, the LOE score is used in pacing. That is the default. You don't have to do anything to use that one. We have options for non-tested teachers. TCA states that districts and charters must use at least one approved alternative growth measure for non-tested teachers. The AGM options that we have are a student growth portfolio or a state board approved universal reading screener. For the state board approved universal reading screener to generate a score for your teachers, it must be the same screener that you were using to satisfy the requirements for the Tennessee Literacy Success Act. A list of those approved screeners can be found. There's a link here. If a district or charter receives a voluntary pre-K money for 24-25, TCA mandates that the district or charter must implement a student growth portfolio or an alternative growth measure, URS, in grades pre-K and kindergarten. So if your district or charter receives voluntary pre-K, you have to do a portfolio or a URS, an AGM URS in pre-K and kindergarten. You may choose to add additional growth portfolios or AGM grades, but you are required to do it for pre-K and kindergarten. You don't have to implement other grades, but you can. If you get VPK money, you must do it for pre-K and kindergarten. These are all of the approved models that we have. So for pre-K, kindergarten, first and second grade, there are two options, portfolio and the state board approved universal reading screener. We also have portfolios for physical education, fine arts, and world language. Please note that for the state board approved universal reading screener for pre-K, Pearson Ames Webb allows for rostering for pre-K students, but uses kindergarten national norms and does not have pre-K norms. In the LEA settings, it's in the center of the page. It gives you some of the same information. We're going to ask if you receive voluntary pre-K funds. That's a yes or no question. If you answer yes, you have to use it and have to make a selection for pre-K and kindergarten. You can select other grades and models if you want. Every district and charter must implement one of these. Everyone has to do at least one. The state board policy also allows districts and charters to use student surveys as 5% of their teachers' level of effectiveness score. If your district chooses to do that, there are 4 approved universal screener, 4 approved surveys that are listed here. These are student surveys. They have to be given to your students, and the information they are used. Those scores are uploaded and used as 5% of the teacher's LOE. You will indicate that you're doing that in your evaluation model. If you're using the team model and you want to use the survey, in the drop down there will be a team model with survey. If you use Project Coach and you want to use the survey, there in the drop down there will be a Project Coach, and there will also be a Project Coach with survey. And if you select one with survey, the survey percentage will automatically populate at 5%. There are also 2 options for administrator evaluation flexibility. You have the option of entering one summative score for each indicator based on multiple observations throughout the year, or you have the option of entering 2 scores for each indicator. Scores from the fall would count for 1/3 of the average observation. Scores from the spring would count for 2/3 of the average observation score. Excuse me. That is indicated on the right-hand side under Administrator Evaluation Flexibility. You are required to tell us which one of these you're going to do. Those are your only 2 options. Please you click the radio button there for the ones that you choose. The 4-5 Trump rule allows local boards of education to adopt a policy that will allow teachers who score a level 4 or 5 on the current year's individual growth score, which would come from TVAS portfolio or the alternative growth measure, to use their individual score for the entirety of their LOE. So essentially what happens if you select to use the 4-5 Trump rule, a teacher that scores a 4 or a 5, that just becomes their LOE. Their observation scores and their achievement measure scores are not factored in anywhere. That is a checkbox that you will select on the left-hand side. If you do not want to use that, you don't mark anything, you just leave it blank. Go back just a minute. There are other options there that you will not select. Those are options that TNCompass selects when the school year begins. LEA contacts, you go back to the administration page and LEA contacts. It is imperative that we have these contacts for your district and charters. This is how we contact you with various information that we send out throughout the year. We need accurate contacts. Please pay special attention to make sure your emails are correct, that there are no misspellings in those emails. We need a contact for everything that has an asterisk by it. If you are implementing portfolios, we have to have a portfolio lead contact. If you are implementing alternative growth universal reading screener, we have to have a contact for that. For our districts, we ask for human resources, differentiated pay, and educator diversity contacts. You can edit those at any time during the year. If someone changes during the year, please try to remember to get somebody to go in and change that. I know now I have some evaluation configurators that have changed. If the district does not go in and change it in LEA contacts, we cannot update that. So if we get an email asking us to update that, we're going to reply, please go into LEA contacts. We need these contacts for everybody. You can have more than one person. As an evaluation configurator, you just click to add another person. Be sure you click the save button at the bottom so that we get those. So let's talk about preparing for the 24-25 school year.
Hey, Amy, do you mind if we pause for a moment and answer some questions from what you've covered so far?
Okay.
Just for clarification, so when choosing pacing options, it is by district and not by individual teacher, correct?
Correct. That is these are district options. Your teachers, the district makes that decision, not the teachers.
Okay. And if these contacts haven't changed, will they transfer over from this year?
I believe they will roll over.
Not this year. Remember, we asked for them.
We are asking for new contacts this year. Okay.
All right. That's it. I just wanted to cover before we started talking about.
Yes. All of these options, once they're selected, they impact every teacher that they could impact. So if you select portfolio for kindergarten, every kindergarten teacher has to do a portfolio. If you select the world language portfolio, every world language teacher in your district does it. PE is the same way. Every PE teacher, not just your high school PE teachers, but every PE teacher you have staffed.
And if you select 4-5 Trump rule, it applies to everyone.
It's everybody that gets an individual growth score from TVAS, the portfolio, or the AGM-URS. So if you select it, it happens for everybody, regardless of what their LOE would be without the Trump rule.
Thank you.
All right, so TNCompass will open for the 24-25 school year on July the 1st. Staffing cannot begin for 24-25 until after July the 1st. Everyone who is staffed in 23-24 will automatically roll over. Once it rolls over into 24-25, any person who is no longer employed can be removed. You don't want to remove them from 23-24 because they worked for you in 23-24. Make sure you are in the 24-25 school year before you start removing people who've left the district at the end of the school year. To update staffing, if you need to remove somebody, make sure you're in the 24-25 school year. You navigate to the staff assignments, you find the person, and you click the little red garbage can. It's very simple. It will pop up and tell you you're about to remove this person. Are you sure? You click confirm, and that person will be removed. Should you accidentally remove a wrong person, an incorrect person, you can reactivate people. So if you go down on the left-hand side where you can search for staff, under the staff status, if you'll click the removed button there, it will open up and it'll show you all the staff that you've removed. If you accidentally removed the wrong person, or if the person left and it's coming back, you click that green button and you reactivate them. It'll tell you you're about to activate them, and you click confirm reassignment. To add new staff, this is an example at the LEA level. It works the same at a school. You make sure you're in the right location. You'll click that add staff. It'll be in the upper right-hand corner. It'll open up a window for you to search for the person. You can search by name, license number, or social security number. If you're searching by name, when it pulls up, please double check to make sure that that is the correct person. There are lots of times there are people with the same first and last name in here. Make sure you have the right person. If you're unsure of the license number, check their birth date, the last four of their social security number. Make sure you're staffing the right person. You click next, and it gives you the option to select the role. As I said, this is an LEA staff. If you did a school staff, you would have teacher, observer, principal. You would have all those different roles there. And then you click next, and those people are staffed. As part of our team's ongoing commitment to excellence, we would like for you to share your feedback with us regarding our evaluation support to make sure that we meet your needs each year. If you would please take a few minutes to complete our feedback survey. I think Micah's going to drop that in the chat if you want to do that now, or it'll be linked in this when we post it. Your responses help us identify areas to strengthen and opportunities for growth, ultimately enhancing the support we provide to you all. That is our job, is to support you all with evaluations. Please complete this survey by July the 1st to ensure that your feedback is included as we begin planning for the next year. We appreciate any comments and suggestions that you have. Our resources are on the team website. This will be posted on the Evaluation Configurator monthly office hours under recently released. Teacher Evaluation Handbook is always there for your use. And as always, with any questions, please email team.questions. Right. Are there any other questions?
My form stack is not working right now. Can you copy and paste that from your slide deck?
Well, Amy, we have a while you were loading that. This particular survey that Amy is dropping in the chat is our feedback survey. The LEA options that we have discussed this meeting, is that what you're asking about? The person who asked, when does the survey open? Are you you're talking about? Yes. Okay, so we are calling that the evaluation options. So Amy, when does the LEA settings open for them to choose their evaluation options?
That should open on June the 6th. It will be in the commissioner's update on June the 6th. It will open. We're going to have some office hours if you have any questions. The office hours for the evaluation flexibility will strictly be for you to ask questions. There won't be a presentation, but if you have any questions, you can pop in and out and ask your questions. And the survey will be due on June the 21st. TNCompass will be locked down for any changes from the 24th to the 28th, and then it will reopen on July the 1st for the 24-25 school year. And all of that information will be in the commissioner's update when it comes out in there.
Looks like someone has their hand up.
Sure.
If you want to take yourself off mute, I can't tell.
Yeah, I have. So I will have new hires or folks that come in that will have entered their wrong email address. Or I'll have folks that come in that they forgot their password when they made the account. Is that something that I can help them with, or is that on their end something that they need to write in for a team ticket for and go that route?
If they have the wrong email or they don't know their password, they need to, I think they can reset their password from the login page of TNCompass. If not, they need to email support@tncompass.org. We can't reset passwords and we cannot update their emails. They are welcome to email team questions and we will forward that to TNCompass if that's easier.
And that's what I've told, but I just wanted to be sure that I couldn't help on my end in any way before I sent them somewhere else. And what happens when they have the wrong email address is they send that password to the wrong email address. And so yeah. All right.
I will give you one tip. So an example would be if you have a new hire who came from another district, that login, when they log in with their old district, that old district email is most likely their login. They can go in and click on their account and change that primary email. So if you click on, anyone can change it says account settings. They can change their own username to their new email, and they can set their password. So they're not locked in on that. TNCompass doesn't have to reset their email.
Right.
Unless they're locked out.
Yeah.
Unless they're locked out and they don't know their password. Yes.
Yeah.
But if they know their username and password from last year, they can still get in and then change it all to their new email. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Amelia, but I'm not sure that this is the right platform to ask, but I'm going to ask and hope that you can send me somewhere.
Okay.
So I get a newsletter, and I'm not exactly sure which department it's from, but it talks about experience inaccuracies in TNCompass. Can you help with that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Who do I contact for that?
It doesn't give you a contact for that?
Mm-mm.
Do you know who you got the newsletter from?
It's just a little blurb. It says at the top of the newsletter, educator licensure.
That's who you need to contact then. Educator.licensure@tn.gov, and they can help you with that.
All right. Thank you.
Amy, Mr. Ducey's asking, when will they be able to roster their teachers? I'm assuming you mean staff them in TNCompass for 24-25. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
July.
just when it's going to open up.
July the 1st.
Perfect. Thanks.
Hey, if there are no more questions, we'll end a few minutes early today. Look forward to seeing you all again in the fall. We won't have another office hour until August, unless something comes up, and we'll send you an email.
When does the flexibility or the evaluation options close?
June 21st. We have to have that before we can roll over. So it needs to be completed by June 21st.
And remember, it will be an announcement in the CUFD, as well as you will see it in your administration tab after that day it opens. And I believe only superintendents and evaluation configurator roles can access this, right?
Access the survey.
The LEA settings, the evaluation options.
Yes. And your superintendent has to sign it. Superintendent designees can also access it.